administration, and community to stand at attention facing the flag with their right hand over their heart to recite the Pledge of Allegiance. So we're going to mix things up a little bit. We were going to do the 2024-25 budget hearing first before the spotlight. Two things. One, the spotlight is always the highlight of the evening, so let's get to that first. And nobody wants to sit through the budget hearing unless it's necessary. So we're going to jump right to the DPM spotlight. I'll let Sam take over from here.
Thank you so much. We are Deer Path Middle School. I'm Sam Paulson. I'm the 7A principal. I'm joined by my fellow administrators and a couple student speakers. Tonight we want to highlight community service, and community service for us has been a big area of emphasis over the past couple of years. Actually, Monica and Megan were big factors in us getting a change at Deer Path and making community service not just a one-day thing, but something that is really embedded in the fabric of our school experience, especially with 8th grade. So yesterday we had our kickoff assembly. Brian Floriani, who is a Deer Path dad, as well as the founder of Bernie's Book Bank, came and spoke with our 8th grade class to talk about the importance of service and how it shaped his life, and how we hope as educators, as well as just people trying to raise wonderful human beings, that service is a bug we want you to catch when you're young, so it becomes part of who you are. So we want to share a little bit about the community service efforts that we have going at Deer Path, and then we have two students who are going to share about how service has changed their lives. Hold on, Teddy. 1 second.
I know they're really eager, and I'm just a few slides in between them and you guys. So at Deer Path, I'm Michelle Shin. I am the 5-6 principal this year, joining the Deer Path team and learning a ton. With community service, I'm learning as well, and we are engaged in a number of activities in the building, I think, to build, starting with our younger students as well, and starting to build those opportunities to give back to the community within Deer Path as well as outside of Deer Path. So it's connected directly to the Portrait of a Learner work that we engaged in a couple of years ago in the district, and we hope to develop an appreciation for civic engagement and our community through meaningful service for all of our students. Thank you.
Oh, that's you. Sorry.
So I get to report that we have so far served by last year by DPM 2,121 hours of service combined from Deer Path Middle School in 23-24. So we are really proud of that, and we're hoping to increase that number this year.
So I'm going to introduce myself. I'm Carly Harvey. I'm the 5-6 assistant principal. And like Mr. Paulson said, this focus on community service is really an 8th grade initiative that we hope for students as they exit our building. But as these students can tell you, we don't get all of those hours just from 8th graders. This is something that we want school-wide. So we have a Presidential Service Award for students who have 50 or more hours of community service within a 12-month period. And we have here tonight Maisie and Teddy, who were two distinguished recipients of this award last school year, even as 6th and 7th graders last year. So they're going to tell you a little bit more about their experience.
Good evening. My name is Teddy Pacelli, and I'm a 7th grader at DPM. I started volunteering at a food pantry in Lake Forest in the 5th grade. Last year I volunteered at the food pantry for over 50 hours. The work I do at the food pantry includes making snack packs for veterans, packing groceries for seniors and food-insecure families in Lake Forest, Lake Bluff, and North Chicago, and then with my mom delivering these groceries to their homes. I love volunteering at the food pantry because I've met so many amazing people from all different places and backgrounds, people from all over the world, seniors who have lived through the Great Depression and World War II, and veterans who have fought to protect our country. I also love that it's something I can do with my friends. Every other week, my friend Jackson and I pack snack packs for veterans, and we have so much fun. I think volunteering is important for all kids because you can learn so much about your community and the people who make it. It reminds you that you are part of a community and that even the people who live next door to you can sometimes need your help. And most of all, I've learned that even though I'm a kid, I can still help people. Thank you.
Over the past 3 years, I surpassed 200 hours of service. I started volunteering in 5th grade because I'm an overachiever, because it looks good on applications of all kinds, and, let's be honest, because there's an award. But over the course of many GLASA, Bernie's Book Bank, and North Chicago Community Partner sessions, my acts of charity became more meaningful and less about me, all in one. I'm so fortunate to live in a place where my biggest worry is next week's math test, while some kids my age have to worry about their next meal just 20 minutes north of us. I was obviously aware that there were plenty of people worse off than me before community service, but being in a classroom with these children every week made me much more appreciative for what I had earlier considered common comforts. All of a sudden, I was comparing the food on my plate to that at FMSC and wondering what it felt like to sleep on hard ground without bedding. And I decided that the best way I could help was by giving my time. Lake Forest can resemble a bubble of sorts. Take it from someone who goes to school at Deer Path. Awareness isn't a huge quality found in kids who've lived here all their lives. Community service is especially important for us, personally, because a lot of us are surrounded by wealth and privilege so often day to day that being around and helping people who aren't as lucky is popping that bubble. We grow immune to the beauty and blessings before us. Watching the story of kids in Haiti before a session to feed my starving children will make anyone take a closer look at their shoes and be thankful. Not only does charity make us grateful for our gifts and make a difference in the world, but it also builds the habit of doing the work instead of just saying it. Let me tell you, it's a whole lot easier to say world hunger is bad than to change it with your own 2 hands. Volunteering is a beautiful system of people helping people. Winston Churchill said, "We make a living by what we get, but we make a life by what we give." I highly recommend the Saturday night sessions at FMSC. It's a great way to guilt trip your kids into hanging out with you.
I'm blown away every time they talk. The level of maturity and just care. You guys are exemplars of what makes our student body so great. So thank you so much for sharing. I just want to highlight a few more things before we close, so you guys can talk about the budget. I want to thank the APT for coordinating all of our service opportunities. They're integral in helping set up those places for students to go. If you hit the next one for me, please. And the next one coming up is the Grateful Market, which was actually an initiative started by 2 Deer Path students. It is at Beacon Place in Waukegan. Pardon the generic text, that was a typo. But it is October 20th. It is a time for people from North Chicago, from Waukegan, to come and collect basic necessities. So just like Maisie aptly said, there are families not 10, 15, 20 minutes north of us who have vastly different life experiences than us, and this is a great opportunity for some of our kids to give back and also to just learn what the other side of life is like. And I bring my son there every year because I want him to get the act of service and get that taste. And it's so great that our students started this and are continuing to let it thrive. So I just want to thank everyone for spotlighting Deer Path, and we have so much exciting service to come, and I appreciate you listening. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sam, and everybody for not just coming here tonight, but all of the work behind the scenes to make this happen and all the commitment. It's what you guys are doing is truly special. So thank you.
And may we have a quick picture, please, with the students as well as our administrators.
May I have a motion to adjourn to the 2024-2025 final budget hearing?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
Have a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Adamo?
Yes.
Mrs. Yan?
Yes.
Mrs. Shohan?
Yes.
Mr. Karar?
Aye.
Mr. Remus?
Yes.
Motion carries.
On to you, Whitney, and I apologize for making you second fiddle to DPM. But
That's okay. It was actually more exciting than the budget, so I do agree with you on that. All right, we'll just quickly jump into the final budget. First, this is the FY 2025 final budget that we are hoping to approve this evening. Just to kind of go over some of the legal requirements, we are required to adopt the budget by September 30th of this year for the 25 school year. Some other legal requirements that we did back in June is that we are required to place the tentative budget on display for at least 30 days. And at that time, we also scheduled a date and time for the public hearing. Shortly after that, we also then went ahead and published the notice for the public hearing in the newspaper. So all of those last three requirements were met back in June. Then we'll just kind of jump into a quick overview of revenues. We have revenues coming from 4 different sources. We have our local taxes, state taxes, federal, and other. Going to kind of give you a little bit of a visual so you can see that we are very property heavy on our revenues. So about 86% of our revenues are coming from our property taxes. Our other local revenues are our CPPRT and some interest earnings, also food service, for example, and some activity income that we receive. Our state revenues are coming from our evidence-based funding and our categorical payments, which is our EBF funding and our title grant funding as well. We then also have a small sliver here of federal revenues, and that is restricted, and I'm sorry, the categorical payments were just for the EBF funding and our transportation claims. The federal funding is related to the title and the IDEA grants. Those are specifically restricted for what we're allowed to spend those revenues on. Then what you'll also see here are transfers. These are not true revenues. We are required, if we are moving funds from if we're moving dollars from one fund to another, we're required to report them as expenditures from the fund that we are taking them out of and report them as revenues for the fund that we are placing them into. Here you'll see a comparison between the FY24 and the FY25 budget, and we'll see some changes. We're looking at a drop of 2% in our revenues. Some of the heavy hitter items here is really going to be the CPPRT. This was about a $142,000 decrease from the prior year, which is about 28.8%. And lots of districts are also seeing a decrease in this area as well. We're also seeing a decrease in our state revenues in regards to the transportation categorical estimates. Those are down as well. And we also, in our federal area, we are looking at a reduction in about $128,000, and this is due to the ESSER funds that were related to the pandemic that are sunsetting. Then just kind of a quick overview on our expenditures. We have a majority of our expenditures you'll see, and I'll just give a quick visual here, a majority of our expenditures are going to be in salaries and benefits. And then we have some of our expenditures in purchase services, and purchase services really is contracted services. So you'll see Olson Transportation in here, you'll see Quest in here, we have True North is budgeted into our purchase services as well. A portion of True North is in here. And then you'll have professional development, we'll see some liability, property, insurance, you'll have some legal fees as well, and because we are unique in that we have shared service, any of our shared service employees whose home district is District 115, their salary and benefits will be in purchase services as well. This is just how we are required to report them. Then we also have supplies and capital outlay. Capital outlay is basically any type of equipment that is over our threshold of $5,000, or in like FY24, you saw capital projects in there as well. Then within the next line, we have other objects, and a majority of this is actually made up of our bond payments, and there's a small trickle of a contribution to Croya. We also have membership dues in here, and there is a payment in here as well, since this building is a 115 building, 67 does a utility payment to 115, since we house our shared service here as well.
I know that was a question in committee of the whole, so that is the descriptor of everything that's in the other category.
And then again, here you'll see the transfers, which are not true expenditures. It's just something that we're required to record as an expenditure. And you'll also see a small amount of termination benefits. ISB calls them termination benefits. What these really are retirement benefits that, based upon the various collective bargaining agreements and policies, are what we are obligated to pay for retirees. So just kind of going into that a little bit more, this is our staffing FTE for FY25. You'll see prior years going back to 2020, which is kind of the beginning of the pandemic, but I don't think we felt the full effects until we started going into 21 and 22. So here you can see in total we have a drop in FTE of 6.62 FTEs, and that is between administration, our educational support, teachers, and we saw a slight increase in our teacher assistants based upon our student needs. Here we'll see the comparison of the FY24 to FY25 expenditure budget. Some of the major heavy hitters here are going to be within our salaries. We are looking at our certified staff that fall under our LFEA collective bargaining agreement. Their increase was a 3.5% on base plus step. And then we had our some of our non-certified, such as TAs and registered nurses, for example, will fall in this group as well, and they actually had an individual realignment when we did the contract, renegotiated the contract for 25. So their average increase is about 7%. Then we have our other non-certified collective bargaining agreement. This is going to have our admin assistants in there, and it's also going to be for like our custodial group, and their average their increase is a 3.4%. The following group is our administrators and our confidentials. Administrators on average have a 3.8% increase and a 5% increase on our confidentials is our average. Currently at the time, we have about 3 open FTEs that have not been filled by any of our contracted agencies, and these are all TAs. We did have to, based upon student needs, we're required to go out and fill the positions for TAs, so we had to get some contracted agencies. So that covers our major hitters with our salaries. With our benefits, we did have quite an increase there. We had a 7.9% increase on our PPO and an 11.1% increase on our HMO. So that is, between that and open enrollment, there were quite a few changes that happened. Some staff made some different choices based upon those increases. Within our purchase services, our major expenditures here are the increase in transportation fees that we see for our regular routes. Those increased to 6.01%, and for our shuttles, they increased 6.82%. We did also see some increases in the special education area, which had about an increase in purchase services of 10%. This is just based upon the student needs that we're obligated to service. Here in capital outlay, we'll see quite a big drop of about 88%, and this is because we have last year we were paying for Cherokee in FY24, and we're done paying for that this year. So this drop is going to be some equipment that reaches the threshold of the 5,000, and also just some other items in there as well. Later tonight, you're going to see a recommendation for architect fees for the Deer Path cafeteria, and those fees are actually up in the purchase service area. And then another large decrease of 60% was the transfers. This is because this transfer is exclusive to funding the bond payments. Last year we had some transfers due to the capital projects transfers. And then in tuition, we had this is related to special education as well, and we had some changes within the student needs. And so this tuition dropped by about 15%. So with all of those major levers that happen and all of those different revenues and expenditure changes, we are looking at revenues of just about a touch over 48 million, and expenditures are just coming in under that amount, still at 48 million. So we're looking at our revenues to be over our expenditures by about 61,000. Again, this is just kind of a roadmap of where we expect our revenues and expenditures to land. For FY24, we're projecting to have a positive impact to the fund balance, better than we were expecting when we presented the budget last year. We are still running final numbers, so I don't want to share any of those yet with anybody. With that, I just want to say that if anybody is looking for further financial information, there is a link to the website where you can find any of the agreements or any financial information that you're looking for. With that, I would just ask if there's any questions.
Thank you, Whitney. I just wanted to note that you made a very similar presentation to the board during the finance and ops segment of the workshop earlier today, where the board had an extensive discussion about the budget and asked lots of excellent questions. We'll also have the budget up for vote later on in the meeting. There'll be an opportunity to have further discussion then as well. At this time, does the board have any questions for Whitney? Carl?
Just want to say thank you to Katie and Whitney for your patience in answering all the questions I had over the weekend and today. So thank you very much.
Of course.
We now turn to public participation for the budget hearing. Are there any members of the public who would like to address the board? Please note that this opportunity for public comment must be regarding the budget If you have other topics that you would like to address, please hold your comment until the regular meeting is reopened. We're now going to reopen the regular meeting. I will now call back to order the regular meeting of the Lake Forest School District 67 Board of Education meeting for September 24th, 2024. May I have a roll call, please?
Ms. Shohan,
Present.
Mr. Adamo,
Present.
Mr. Karar,
Still here.
Ms. Yan,
Here.
Mr. Remus.
Here.
Motion carries.
All right, for the President's report, I just want to touch on two issues, just to let the community know what's top of mind for the board. One is, consistent with what we've already heard from Whitney regarding the budget, is the board has had extensive discussions about the budget and the financial health of the district. For me personally, the number one goal of this board is academic excellence, but financial stewardship is a close second. So we're paying a very close eye on that. The district is in excellent financial shape, but running a school district is expensive, and we have a lot of expenses to maintain this district over the future, and we're paying close attention to what we need to do to maintain the facilities and the excellent quality of education that we have here in Lake Forest. Second thing that's top of mind for the board is engaging in even more community participation and feedback. Each board member looks for opportunities to participate with the community, get feedback, know what people are concerned about. We also want to look for more formal opportunities, and we're in the process of preparing some of those more formal opportunities to solicit and get community feedback. So stay tuned for that. We'll have some announcements on that in the future. With that, I will turn it to Matt for the superintendent's report.
Thank you, sir. The topics that I tonight include an academic update, touching on a vote that's coming later for the DPM cafeteria, the caucus, an update on the community book talk series, and then the home and garden tour, which is on the horizon. At our district all APT meeting, which was last week, you, and well as our Superintendent Advisory Council, this slide has been brought up several times. Renee is usually giving this speech about our three priorities. They are belonging, academic excellence, and innovation, and they are our attempt to laser focus the work that is outlined in the strategic plan and make it meaningful and attainable for all of our users within the district. Some academic highlights that I shared at the APT meeting I think are really important. One is that the Bridges curriculum, which is our math curriculum K through 4, is updated for this year. So we have fresh content, same provider, but it is updated with the latest and the greatest in terms of pedagogical and curriculum structures. We have year 2 of Amplify. Year 2 is always easier than year 1, and I want to take a moment and just thank our tremendous staff who really engaged in a great deal of work last year to get Amplify K through 8. That's our English language arts programming up and running, and I'm excited to see how we grow and change and make nuanced changes based on what we learned after the first year. From time to time, I hear questions about grammar. Are you teaching grammar? The answer is an emphatic yes. We are also looking for how to build in grammar structure, particularly in our grades 6 through 8. Sam and Vale were both in classrooms today, and they were sending me pictures of grammar units that were being done through 6 through 8 as we're trying to bridge the gap from our old curriculum to our new curriculum to make sure that grammar is, those foundational skills are available for all of our students. Keyboarding is something that we moved away from that we're bringing back. We want to make sure that our students are proficient and they're not pecking, so to speak, at the keyboards. It is not something that organically, it's like telling people to learn how to play Mozart on the piano. You have to be carefully taught. And this is a reminder that it's still an important concept for our students to be successful as they matriculate through the systems. And then the last thing is a quick reminder that the report card will be available and talked about on October 30th is the release. Right now, we have the bulk of the data, but it is censored until that date. And please expect further information. I'm excited to share the results for you next month. On the agenda tonight is a bid for, or excuse me, proposed plans for the DPM cafeteria renovation, which is tentatively scheduled for summer of 2025. There are two board votes that need to happen. The first one is tonight, which is the agreement between Perkins and Will and the district. The second one would be once we get the bid documents in place and we actually see how the bids come in, which would be, I think February is what we're tracking to come back to the board with the project. If you remember, in December of 23, the Spirit, of 67 made a tremendous donation north of $300,000 for the furniture at Deer Path, because they came forward and said, how could they make a big investment in something that would impact all of our students? That's why the cafeteria of Deer Path is at the forefront of many of our project ideas, because it is the one place across the district that is impacting every student in 67. So this phase one of the project is really focusing on you can see some branding on the back wall, but it's opening up the cafeteria center hub where the serving is happening, and will make it a much more friendly experience for our students as they're going through the lunch experience. The second area is actually the hub, which is we had our tech offices, which is the room that is to the right of the cafeteria as you're walking in towards the gym. There is furniture purchased for this space. If you look at it now, it has like original brown carpet. I don't know if it's original, but it's brown carpet from maybe the 90s that's still in there. Reimagining that space to make it a multi-purpose room, not only for lunch, but throughout the school year, or throughout the school day. The idea with this project is we want the cafeteria to be a place that's used all day and not just during the lunch periods. And remember, the cafeteria and adjacent space is used not only by the district, but the community, particularly with the rec department and all of their programming that's happening. So it is a highly used space within our school district, and a great place to hopefully make even better. The next topic is I had the pleasure and the honor of presenting to the caucus as they are interviewing school board candidates for the April election. This is the second time I think I have had the opportunity of presenting to them on this topic. I've presented on several other times, and it's always a wonderful group because often every time I present to them, when it goes to Q&A, I get cut off because we run out of time. And that's just a testament of the thoughtful individuals that make up the caucus. So I presented for a tick over an hour, but one of the major focus was what are the roles of the school board, what are characteristics of the school board, and some of the topics that I shared were, in terms of characteristics, we want school board members who are strategic thinkers. They are aware of public sector, so they have some awareness of the labor and union relations. They're collaborative. They don't have an agenda. They know how to look at issues at the 20,000-foot view, and they are certainly available to give their time and energy towards this initiative. We are fortunate in these communities to have 14 people who fulfill those characteristics every day. And that's testament to not only the people that are surrounding me in this table, but when 115 is here. And then ultimately, a nod needs to go, in my humble opinion, to the caucus for how robust the process is as they're screening people to find the very best public servants. Moving on to the Let's Talk, last 2 weeks ago, or was it last week? I cannot remember. It was November 11th, so it had to be 2 weeks ago. The weeks are running together, folks. It's week 5 of school already. September 11th, what did I say? November. Thank you, September 11th. We had the opportunity to talk with David Yeager, who wrote the book 10 to 25, The Science of Motivating Young People. Carl, thank you for coming and representing. I was enthralled with the book, and I don't say that about every book, I promise, and also of the conversation with him. I think every parent and grandparent should read this book, as the key theme is having high expectations yet high support, and you can't have a disconnect between both those. You can't have low support and high expectations, or low expectations and high support. And the thing that was amusing to me is there's not a great deal of difference scientifically between the 10-year-old's brain and a 25-year-old brain. So if any of you have college students in your life, remember that you still need to support them because they are still growing and learning, much as the young people that are in my house. And I changed my parenting structure after I read a couple of stuff and was experimenting with my own children, and was pleasantly surprised with some of the responses I got from the Montgomery children. Although I did get a speech from one today, I asked them, how can I be more supportive? Like, what does more supportive look like? This is Dad talking. And the response was, anything but you. I was like, you can't do anything. You need to be a whole different person. So the moral of that story is that we're all still learning as parents and trying to do a better job. Some days are certainly better than others. So the last thing I'll leave you with is something that I love each and every year, which is the Foundation Home and Garden Tour. It is sold out this year. We have a wonderful lineup of homes. They have a wonderful lineup of homes, and I cannot wait to experience it 2 days from today. Thank you so much, and that concludes my superintendent report.
Thank you, Matt. Any questions from the board?
I had a question, Matt, about the academic part. The keyboarding instruction you mentioned, what grade levels is that happening for?
We are doing the keyboarding we're starting at the elementary school, and the librarians have committed to really starting intensely at 3rd grade so that those students can be prepared for the IAR and those state assessments where that's a critical component.
Thank you, Renee.
Anything else? At this point in the evening's agenda, we'll have another opportunity for public participation. This opportunity for public comment will be limited to comments about this meeting's agenda items only. Please hold all other comments until the following opportunity for public comment later during tonight's meeting. Are there any members of the public who would like to address the board? Seeing none, we'll move on to the liaison reports. Monica, do we have an APT report? Excellent.
So the APT held their annual kickoff for the year on Thursday, September 12th, that Matt mentioned it. He was an honored speaker there. Executive APT President Catherine Najjar has chosen a theme for this year to be Elevate. The theme reflects their mission to enhance the school community by fostering strong partnerships between parents, teachers, and students. To go along with that theme, there was a panel discussion for Volunteers in Action, a salute to community impact, which goes along with our DPM Community Spotlight tonight. Heidi Clifton was there for Meals on Wheels, Melanie Utag for North Chicago Community Partners, Lindsay Nero represented the Women's Board of Northwestern Medicine, Lake Forest Hospital, and Courtney Turner for the Spirit of 67. The APT is continuing their community safety series again this year. September 11th was about the role of the SRO. Last night, September 23rd, was active shooter scenarios. And coming up, in case you missed any of those, there's one more chance. October 7th is Internet Crimes Against Children at 9:30 to 11 a.m. and at 7 to 8:30 p.m. at Croya. I've been to those sessions. They are scary topics, but it's really informative, and the Lake Forest Police do a really good job in facilitating those discussions. So I encourage people to go to that. The APT at each school has already held numerous events, new parent gatherings, welcome back lunches for teachers. They have school picnics coming up, so things are already in high gear. So I just wanted to say thank you to the APT. Each of the school presidents have a board of 20 to 30 members helping them out. So with all the schools and all the boards, that's a lot of parents that contribute to our kids and enhancing the experiences they have. So thank you to them.
Thank you, Monica. We will now move on to the action items. Number one is approval of the 2024-2025 final budget. May I have a motion to approve that final budget?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion on the budget? All right, seeing none, may I have a roll call vote, please?
Mrs. Shohan,
Present?
Mr. Remus,
Yes.
Mr. Karar,
Aye.
Mr. Adamo,
Aye.
Ms. Yan.
Yes.
Motion carries.
We'll move on to the Perkins and Will proposal. May I have a motion to approve the Perkins and Will proposal for the DPM cafeteria?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second?
Any discussion? Seeing none, may I have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Remus,
Yes.
Mr. Adamo,
Yes.
Mrs. Shohan,
Yes.
Mr. Karar,
Aye.
and Mrs. Yan.
Yes.
Motion.
We'll now move on to the consent agenda. Any item may be removed from the consent agenda at the request of a board member. May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda items which are listed in the public agenda for tonight's board meeting?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
May I have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Karar,
Aye.
Mrs. Shohan,
Yes.
Mr. Remus,
Yes.
Ms. Yan,
Yes.
Mr. Adamo.
Aye.
We have several FOIA requests to report. There were 5 of them, all of which have been completed and should be publicly available at this time. We have a final opportunity for public participation. Are there any members of the public who would like to address the board? Seeing none, just a few announcements. October 14th is Columbus Day. There will be no school. October 24th, Parent-Teacher Conference is a full day of school. October 25th, Parent-Teacher Conference as well, but no student attendance. And then the next Board of Education meeting is October 29th at 7 p.m. May I have a motion to adjourn the City of Lake Forest School District 67 Board meeting for September 24th, 2024?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second?
May I have a voice vote, please? All in favor, say yes.
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 Yes.